welcome to the first ever episode of the Mama Podcast. Here you'll meet your hosts, number one, Heidi Eldridge, all-round superwoman and founder of the brilliant Mama Academy, and you'll hear all about her inspirational journey. And me, Marisa Kamall, the latest trustee to join the charity, and I have a strong passion and loud advocate for supporting women and parents.
Hi, Heidi.
Hi, Marisa.
Hello. I'm delighted to finally be recording this podcast with you, just the two of us. So welcome to everyone to Mama Talks.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited. We've got some really cool guests coming up, lots of different topics that we're going to cover. So yeah, this is great. We've never done a Mama podcast before. So yeah, it's really exciting.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll speak a little bit about you, a little bit about me, but mainly about you because your story is way more interesting and way more inspirational. And I know people will be wanting to hear you talk about that. So let's start. Heidi, just tell me, what's your setup at home? What's going on? What do you like doing? Just give us a bit about you.
Oh, okay. So life is very, very busy at Mama HQ, obviously. I've been running the charity 10 years now. I can't believe it's been 10 years. And I started when my daughter was born, actually. We received the charity commission status the day she was born, and she's now 10. So there we go. So I have my children here with me at home for a week, and then they spend the next week at their dad's. So I have 1 week where it's absolutely manic, doing the school run, shouting at the kids to put their shoes on because we're running late. And then I get back about 8:30 and start the charity. And it just keeps me really busy. So I have the kids for a whole week. My son is now 13, going on 30. He keeps me on my toes. And my daughter's 10, going on 3, is how I would describe them. So yes, we have a real mix in our house. But then obviously the week that they're not here, I get to clean the house. I get to get my house back for the week, and just really focus on the charity. Really, most of my time is spent on emails and answering texts from volunteers and staff members. But I try and get out every lunchtime. It's important for me to have a little break from the computer because otherwise I just get square eyes. So I do go for a little walk at lunchtimes. And apart from that, I just like socializing with my friends. I have someone around for dinner, or I'll go around their house for dinner. Sometimes I go out in London. I definitely like to let my hair down every now and then and have a little bit of a boogie on the dance floor. So that's me.
Nice. And don't you sing as well?
Oh gosh, who told you that? Occasionally, yes. I am often singing in the car or in the shower. And I used to run the worship team at church, actually. So I used to lead worship and I used to sing in the worship band. I don't currently because I've recently moved church. I now go to a large church in Woking, but I think it might be on the card sometime soon. Quite a few people have been encouraging me to join the worship team there, so I'm sure it won't be too long before I'm up on the stage singing again.
That's so cool. I think the most I ever get to is like Celine Dion at karaoke and pretty much like bursting people's eardrums. I'm so bad. So I'd love to hear you sing. Maybe we'll get that out of you in another episode later down the line.
Or maybe.
I'm delighted to co-host this with you. My personal setup at home is I live in Dubai with my husband Aaron, and I have a daughter Paloma, she's 2. And a dog called Frank, very crazy Boston Terrier. I feel like, I don't know, for me it feels like maybe you're more out the woods with the kids than I am, but I don't know, given by the ages and what they're going on to, it still sounds pretty complicated.
Yeah, I think it's just different. I wouldn't say it gets any easier. My son's just started secondary school. He's been there a year now, and he still can't remember certain books or his trainers, or so it still has its challenges. And because they're different ages, and one's a boy, one's a girl, they're into completely different things. So that makes the weekend quite interesting. Ferrying to one place, ferrying another to another place. So yeah, there's always going to be challenges, I think. And I'm dreading the day that my daughter turns into a teenager. I think that's also going to be a challenge.
Yeah, I bet. I think people say girls are easier, but when I recall what I was like as a teenager, I think my parents didn't know half of what was going on either. So I don't know whether that's a blessing or so we'll see. So the podcast grew. We connected on LinkedIn, didn't we? Which was feels like universe was bringing us together for this very cause, both the podcast, but now for me as a trustee of your amazing charity that you've built from scratch. So thank you for allowing me to be part of that.
It's so exciting. Yeah, I do feel that the stars aligned. Dora came across your profile on LinkedIn. Dora's our fundraising manager, as you know, and we got together because I knew that you did these podcasts, and it sounded like we have so much shared interests and joint passion that it turned out that you would make a fantastic trustee. So we're very excited to have you on the board.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so enough about me. Let's talk about you. So you've built this amazing charity, Mama Academy, and I'd like to know, how did you get there?
Well, it was never meant to be a national charity. That was not my intention to begin with. I just wanted to raise awareness through my local hospital, basically. So when I was 36 weeks pregnant, and this was back in 2009 now, it was my last day at work. We were going to have a little leavers do that night. So I was pretending not to see the card being passed around and, the collection pot. And I was really excited, So then I had a routine midwife appointment. So I said to my boss, I'm just popping out for an hour, be back soon. It's just a routine appointment. Can't wait to see you all down the pub tonight. So I went to the clinic. My midwife saw me and she couldn't find his heartbeat. Basically, she put the sonic aid on my belly, couldn't find anything. I wasn't worried at that point because I just thought maybe her machine wasn't working properly. Maybe it was the batteries, because I remember at a previous appointment, it took a little while to find the heartbeat. So I just thought it was to do with her machine. And she said to me, "When was the last time you felt him kick?" And I didn't know, to be honest. I thought, oh gosh, was it this morning? Was it at work? Was it last night before I went to bed? I'd never been informed about monitoring movements. I just thought when I felt him move and kick, I just thought, oh, this is really nice. It's a nice way of bonding with the baby. I didn't know the importance of getting to know his pattern at all. I was a high risk pregnancy because I had gestational diabetes. But again, I didn't really realize the significance of that. So the midwife said to me, right, I think you need to go up to the hospital and get checked. She said, I'm going to call ahead and let them know that you're coming in. And she said, I think you should pick your husband up on the way and he should go with you. So I did. I called Steve and I said, don't worry about coming with me. It's fine. I said, I'll meet you down the pub later. And he was like, no, I've got to come. So I did. I picked him up. I went along. The team and the sonographer were there waiting for me. And they scanned me and they just said, I'm so sorry, he's gone. And I just could not get my head around what they were telling me at first. I just did not understand. It was 2009. I didn't understand that babies were dying in the UK. That was just something that I didn't think happened. I was stretching my eyelids out as much as I could because I just thought I was going to wake up from this horrible nightmare that I'm having. And obviously I didn't. So then Steve had to make some calls. He had to call my boss, tell him I wasn't coming back. We went to my mum's house. She was a hairdresser, so I wanted to wait until she'd finished work. We waited outside the house for her to come back, because, I thought if I told her while she was at work, her customers would have wonky haircuts. So yeah, we waited for her to come back. Told her the news. My mum absolutely could not believe it. She said, we need to get a second opinion. And I said, no, I've been scanned several times. This is what's happening. So then we had to make a decision how to give birth. I had the choice whether to wait to go into labour naturally, but obviously we didn't quite know when that would be. And I just thought, I can't carry on with my life. I can't go to Tesco's. I can't, knowing that my baby isn't alive. That's always the question that the Tesco checkout lady wants to talk to you about. They're always saying, oh, what do you do? And I just thought, no, I can't do it. So we went back into hospital that evening with a hospital bag, and we started the induction process. And I was very, very lucky because when they managed to break my waters, I think he was delivered within an hour. He came very quickly after that. And yeah, obviously our world just shattered. It completely turned upside down. My husband was going to embark on entering full-time ministry, and that didn't happen in the end because a massive pause button was put on our lives. Basically, that's how I would describe it. Just complete pausing in life. Couldn't function, couldn't do anything. Everything that I thought was going to be, I suddenly had to reprogram my brain. It took a while for my brain to catch up with reality, to say, oh, actually, no, that's not going to be happening. You're not going to be using your car seat. You're not going to be putting your baby into the nursery that you've decorated. You're not going to be going to toddler group at church. It was a lot to process. So we planned a funeral, and we had to then wait ages for the post-mortem results. And I know that nowadays it's even worse. The wait for a post-mortem is just horrendous. But for me back then, I think we had to wait about 12 weeks. So the results were inconclusive. I was told that his death was just one of those things. And yeah, his death is marked as unexplained on the post-mortem result. So later on, I did some research. I was on maternity leave. And I wanted answers. I wanted to know, why did Aidan die? Why is Aidan one of those statistics? And so there was a program that had just started up in Birmingham by the Perinatal Institute called the GAP program. And it was about bespoke growth charts to detect growth restriction in babies. So I looked into that and spoke to Professor Gardosi. And that's when I realised that, yes, Aidan was in fact growth restricted. And he told me that had my hospital been running the GAP program and I had had a bespoke growth chart, his lack of growth would have been picked up. So, of course, I then ran a campaign called Made to Measure to get all the trusts in the country signing up to this program. And my local hospital, St Peter's, ran the GAP program. And then 2 years later, a very good friend of mine had her baby there, and he was growth restricted, and they picked it up with this growth chart and induced him early. And so he arrived safely. So that was kind of the catalyst for me then wanting to make a difference nationally, basically. And it gave me the belief and the confidence that I could make a difference. I could save some babies' lives. So for me, I felt like I wasn't given enough information during my pregnancy.
Yeah.
I should have known the risks. I should have been given lots of information about what to look out for. I should have been told how to monitor Aidan's movements and understand the importance of that. 2 days before he died, I was having a walk and I had a really nasty pain under my ribs. It took my breath away, actually. Now, if I'd known I was high risk, I may have gone straight up the hospital to get checked, and things might be different. I don't know. But I didn't, because I was so naive. I just waited for the pain to go away and carried on with my life. And then obviously 2 days later, I found out he died. So I just felt like women needed to be empowered with information. There was a real taboo back then about scaremongering parents. We just want to give parents positivity. We don't want to instill any fear into them, which is absolutely, how it should be. However, the majority of parents that lose their babies always say, if only I'd known, or why didn't you tell me? And so I think it's important for us as a society to be made aware and to be empowered. And I was very, very inspired by the Anne Diamond campaign for cot death, because when that campaign came out and it was all about putting your baby to sleep on their back, that reduced the number of cot deaths. It was a huge decline. And so I thought, just simple information in simple ways can make such a difference. So that's when I started the charity and registered it as a national charity for the UK.
It's amazing. Your story is just incredible. Yeah, to turn something as well where, you obviously hold so much grief, and to move it into something so positive is just so commendable. I know, like, the way you talk about it is like it was with ease, but it must have been difficult. Can you talk about how you managed to channel that sadness and just do this for Aidan? And
I think I didn't have a baby in my arms, so I wasn't, I didn't have the time thinking I need to feed him and I need to do this and I need to do that. But what else could I do for him, And so this was my way of doing something for him. And bereaved parents, are very passionate about keeping their baby's memory alive. And that's what I wanted to do. And so I thought, what better way than trying to prevent this tragedy happening to other parents? It was so horrific that you would do anything you possibly could to stop this happening from anybody else. And I've got a real passion for injustice, and I just felt that this was really unjust, that I was going to these support groups, listening to other parents' stories that were very similar to mine, and thinking, this doesn't have to happen. Obviously some babies will die, but not all of them have to. The majority of them can be saved. If we can pick up on what's going wrong, we can induce those babies early, and 9 times out of 10 they can be saved. So that was really my passion. I didn't want Aidan to be another statistic, and I just thought, if there's anything I can do, I will. And so I launched this campaign. I took to Twitter, and Good Morning Britain picked up on it and invited me onto the show. My legs have never been shaking so much in my life. I suddenly found myself on the sofa at like 7 a.m. with Susanna Reid and Ben Shepherd and Dr. Hilary Jones. And I just thought, how did I get into this situation? Dr. Hilary was fantastic. I sent him a debrief before the show, and he actually read it. And so he knew all about the GAP programme and all about my Made to Measure campaign. And off the back of that, and after a lot of hard work, I got 85% of the NHS trusts signed up to that programme. So all these little milestones and achievements, they just spur you on to do more and more. So I then got invited to a Department of Health meeting where lots of different stakeholders, royal colleges, charities, were all part of this meeting, because it had been identified that pregnant women needed to get safer pregnancy messaging. So we decided what those messages should be. And then it was like, well, how do we disseminate these messages? How do we get them across to pregnant parents? Because I felt like I'd been given so many leaflets during pregnancy. Half of them were irrelevant to me. You don't get time to read them all. How can we get this information across to parents? And I thought it's so important that they need access to it constantly. They constantly need to be reading it. And that's when I came up with the idea of the Wellbeing Wallet. And so these Wellbeing Wallets are now given out to half of pregnant parents in the UK via the midwives. And they're printed with all the essential pregnancy messaging on it, when to call your midwife. They encourage parents to call their midwife because we live in a society where we just think, oh, I'll be fine, or I'll wait till the next appointment, or I'm seeing my midwife on Tuesday, I'll just wait till then. But it's important that time is key. So we really encourage parents to make the call if they've got any worries at all. And yeah, we now have these wallets in over 100 hospitals. And we've also got our pregnancy passports, which are for trusts that have gone digital. And since they've gone out, the stillbirth rate has reduced. And we did a pilot with NHS England, and all the hospitals that have the wallets have the lowest stillbirth rate. So I'm very proud of them, as you can imagine.
Yeah, that's incredible, isn't it? And to think like you're like at the beginning, I mean, you're very small anyway in terms of the amount of people, not the work that you do and what you've achieved, but the amount of people working for you. And just to think like one person with a passion and a cause and a drive and a vision, like what you've been able to do is just, yeah, it is truly inspirational, especially when it comes from somewhere so painful, you know. But clearly it's spurred you on, and Aidan would be so proud.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, well, I am just passionate about making a difference. And since I've been doing this, you know, obviously I speak to hundreds of midwives constantly. And as you're chatting to them, you find out their needs, you find out the problems within the trust. And I just want to solve those problems, whatever I can possibly do. I will. So we've got ambulance cards, for example, for home births, because the London Ambulance Service came to us and said, look, we've got this problem. We can't get to the home births quick enough. You know, they're not being recognised as a Category 1 emergency, and therefore parents are having to wait sort of 8 to 10 hours for an ambulance. So we created these cards that have the key trigger words for a midwife to say to ensure she gets a Category 1 response. And they're put in all the home birth packs. And I just thought that's something so simple that makes a huge difference. So when we find out the needs from midwives, student midwives, you know, they all get in touch with us, then we do our best to provide a resource for them. And as a charity at the moment, we're really focused on accessibility. That there is a real postcode lottery in the country at the moment, and that's why we're trying to get the same information in the same way to every parent. We really want consistency of care. So there is a QR code now on our wallets and passports to come onto a page on our website, which has over 20 different languages of the passport translated. We're making some awareness videos, little fun animated videos, and we've just had British Sign Language put over the top of that. We also have an audio version. I'm trying to think what else we're doing. Regarding the wallets, we want to put together a specific wallet for bereaved parents. So we're currently designing that with King's College Hospital at the moment. And we're going to design a wallet specifically for rainbow parents as well, because their journey is very different. When you're pregnant again after a loss, it's very, very difficult. It's a very anxious time. It's a very stressful time. There's lots of different feelings and emotions to process. So we're designing a wallet specifically for them. And we've also literally just launched our Rainbow Pregnancy Helpline as well. The details of that are obviously on our website. But again, that is to support pregnant parents that are pregnant again after a loss. So we can help reduce their anxiety and stress during that journey, because it's hard, it's tough.
Yeah. And we have a whole episode on that and the line itself, the helpline, don't we? So people will be able to hear more about that with Kate.
Yeah, so we've got lots of podcasts coming up. So one is specifically about bereaved parents' needs and what they go through, and what the helpline's doing to support them through that journey. We were talking to Jarell about cultural consciousness, and how black and brown skinned people are affected when they access maternity services. We talked to Thrive, and we've got Thrive employment law coming up about maternity rights, and how employers can support their colleagues. So yeah, we've covered quite a lot of topics. It's quite exciting.
Yeah, we've tried to. So this recording comes after those because we felt like the flow would be better, because we'd get to know each other better. So the conversation between us would flow better. So we know what the content is, and it's exciting. And I think what we've tried to do is cover kind of every aspect of somebody's journey, whether that's stress related, the way you talk to kids, the birthing side, the pre-birthing side. And so it's like kind of cross like end to end the life cycle of having kids and everything that goes with it. But yeah, it's exciting. I think the guests are all really interesting. They all bring a different flavour to it. So yeah, it's really cool that we're going to launch.
Definitely.
This is the first one.
Yeah, exactly. And in the future, because we're planning at the moment about training for healthcare professionals, especially off the back of the Ockenden report. So we've got lots of training programs up our sleeve that we're working on at the moment. And so yeah, I think the future of podcasts will be for healthcare professionals as well, so they can learn from each other. Peer-to-peer support, especially at the moment with the midwifery shortage, I think will be invaluable for them.
Yeah, amazing, very exciting. Was there anything else, Heidi, that you wanted to bring up? Perhaps anything else on the agenda? I know you've got some awards pending soon.
Yes, so we have the awards on the 14th of November, which is very exciting. We've had hundreds of nominations, and I'm just so grateful for all the brands that have helped to sponsor us. Our main sponsor this year is Irwin Mitchell, which is really, really exciting. We're going to be working with them more so in the future, which is great. And we've just been awarded a large grant from the National Lottery, which we're extremely grateful for.
Yay.
It's really exciting. It's for 3 years, and it just means that we're going to be able to reach so many more hospitals, so many more parents with our safer pregnancy messaging. We're able to employ 2 new members of staff to help us do that. So it's really exciting times. It's busy. It's very busy. I don't sleep much, but it's all worth it. And there'll be lots of achievements next year, I'm sure.
No, it's brilliant. Well done to you and the team. And thank you so much for the conversation today. And yeah, I look forward to sharing the rest of the episodes to follow.
Yeah, I can't wait. Thank you so much, Marisa. Thanks for all your support and helping us with these podcasts, because yeah, they're going to be well received.
Oh, good. It's a pleasure. And most importantly, thank you to everyone for tuning in and listening. Hope you found it as interesting as we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.